What's going on, everyone? I cannot wait for today's video, guys. It is the first video of many testing some new set 5 cards and new set 5 leaders. Let me know in the comments section down below if you guys want to see more of this type of video, because my goodness, am I excited about it. But if you guys want to stay close to set 4 for the time being, let me know in the comment section down below. We are going to have some fun today, okay? We are having some fun. Not every single card here is going to be perfectly tuned, not even close. We don't have all of set 5. We are here to mess around with a brand new leader and play around with some brand new strategies. That's the goal for today. With that said, I want to say a big thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. Thank you for supporting the channel, and we have had a blast talking about all the new cards. And also, I've got a TCG player link in the description down below if you guys want to pick up any of these set 5 cards. But let's talk about Qui-Gon and why we're playing Qui-Gon Jinn Yellow today. I talked about this when we saw Qui-Gon released, but for those of you that don't know, Qui-Gon, we've got an action. We exhaust Qui-Gon, use the Force, return a friendly non-leader unit to its owner's hand, play a non-villain unit that costs less than the return unit from your hand for free. So the whole idea here is that you're able to kind of replay these units that have a when played effect and potentially get a ton of value. So the reason why we decided to go with double cunning is really for 2 cards in specific. First off, Bodhi Rook. Anytime you play this card, you look at an opponent's hand, you can discard a non-unit card from it. Pretty straightforward and exceptional with Qui-Gon, especially against certain decks. The second card, and arguably the more powerful one, is Cantina Bouncer. Now, there's not going to be a ton of time when we're going to be able to replay Cantina Bouncer for free, but the idea behind Cantina Bouncer is you get to play Cantina Bouncer and you get this effect of, okay, I'm bouncing one of your units. And then you can return it back to your hand and then play one of our 4 drops, which is Ahsoka or Kira for extra disruption, or Luke Skywalker, or even play one of the 3 or 2 drops that we have as well. So what is the rest of the deck trying to do? Well, we've got some just aggressive cunning cards, some disruptive cunning cards, and just in general a solid cunning list. We do have a small Force package that we are trying to leverage, especially in the early game. Youngling Padawan, new Force Jedi unit, Anakin Skywalker, both versions. We've got Ahsoka and Ezra, all to take advantage of the new base Crystal Caves. Whenever a friendly Force unit attacks, you get to get the Force token. So that's going to help us kind of fuel the mid-game bounce effects that we're going to have. It is going to be extremely powerful, ideally. One other thing I wanted to mention with this deck that I think is really, really cool is Sneak Attack. This is something that is pretty nuts in this deck, actually, because with Sneak Attack, the idea behind this one is you play Sneak Attack, and then you're going to get a massively, massively strong unit readied up, right? Because you're going to be able to play essentially a turn ahead. But then let's say you do that on when you have the 4 resources and you get to play Plo Koon and you smack in with Plo Koon, or you smack in with, let's say, Qui-Gon Jinn's Ether Sprite. You get to bounce this and then play a 4-drop, which is on curve. So you get the effect of the 5-drop, which might be an ambush, a when played, the Qui-Gon Jinn's Ether Sprite to double up a when played, and then you get to play a 4-drop, which is on curve with Qui-Gon's ability. So Sneak Attack, probably the best card in the deck in terms of what the possibilities are, as long as we have the Force, and I am excited to use it. With all that said, guys, let's dive into some games, just a couple of them today, to have some fun and see what we can do with Qui-Gon Jinn. All right, we can start off here with, well, kind of a mediocre hand. I'm going to mulligan this one. Hopefully a little bit of a better hand will show up. Okay. I do like this hand a lot more. I think what I'll do is resource maybe a Plo Koon. I love seeing Ahsoka Tano and Cantina Bouncer. I'm going to resource the Plo Koon, even though I really like Plo Koon, because the Youngling Padawan is going to be pretty important if I don't pick up anything next turn. And ooh, Sneak Attack could be potentially amazing here, but I don't know if I'm really going to be utilizing it. We're going to hit Val here. They can give a security complex shield over to Val and then attack in. That's something that they could do if they wanted to. Okay, they're going to go ahead and do just that. We'll deal 3 to their unit. They're going to get a couple experience tokens to the Outer Rim Outlaws. And then, well, they might give another shield token to it. But guess what? We have Cantina Bouncer next turn. So none of this really matters at all. This is going to be a pretty good turn for us. Sneak attack Cantina Bouncer into Ahsoka is kind of what we're in for, guys. That is a pretty nasty one. Pretty nasty one indeed. Let's go ahead and just get rid of this surprise strike. Let's go sneak attack Cantina Bouncer. Boom. Outer Rim Outlaws back to your hand. Get that nasty out of here. Absolutely love it. That's a pretty good situation to be in. Again, we're doing this because we can then bounce the Cantina Bouncer back to our hand to play either Kira or Ahsoka. Most likely we will just drop our Ahsoka since she's another force unit that can potentially generate some more value for us. Yeah, let's go ahead and ignore their Outer Rim Outlaws here. And let's return this Cantina Bouncer, make them discard a card. Boom. Play Ahsoka, make them discard a card. Cantina Bouncer back in our hand, which we then can set up Cantina Bouncer plus Kira next turn, which is going to be pretty good. Okay, Distant Patroller, the exhausted the one to discard. Give the Force token back. Let's pass. Okay, Cunning is a nice draw. I think I'm going to resource the Surprise Strike. We're probably going to be going with Cantina Bouncer again this turn. But we will see. Opponent trying to decide what they want to do here with this attack. Okay, they're going to hit the base. Interesting, interesting. I think I will just go ahead and hit the base as well. Get in for 2 damage. Outer Rim Outlaws, pretty good. You know, shielded units are definitely going to be those units that are going to be a little bit more scary. Let's go with an attack in with Ahsoka. I know I could generate another experience token, but I'm a little bit worried about what they could have here. They could definitely have like Darth Revan's lightsabers, which could put us in a bad spot. That's a card that can really change the nature of this game. See what they decide to do with Darth Revan here, though. They're going to play Malik. Okay, perfect. Now we got our Cantina Bouncer target. Bounce that Malik back to your hand. Let's see if they're going to knock out my Youngling Padawan here now. I would probably guess that they would. But who knows? Yep, there is the knockout. We're going to go and bounce the Cantina Bouncer. Play Kira. They have Soresu Stance, Darth Revan's lightsabers, Darth Malik. Let's go with Darth Malik. So then they can't play Darth Malik next turn. And then if they play Revan's lightsabers, we can just play Cunning and exhaust a bunch of things. Ooh, I like Bodhi and Anakin here. Could be interesting, but Bodhi especially, because we could potentially bounce Ahsoka with the Qui-Gon attack and then play Bodhi afterwards, which can get a little bit of extra value there after we play Cunning here, because Cunning is going to be the thing we play. I probably should have resourced Cantina Bouncer because I'm probably going to be able to play Anakin Skywalker alongside that, but we will go ahead and see here what is going to take place. It binds all things. Very interesting. I would not have expected them to go with that. Okay, they're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and exhaust 2 units. And then give +4/+0 to my Ahsoka. They're going to put Darth Revan's lightsabers on, sure. That's fine. We're going to ignore that. We're just going to go straight for the base. Hit them for 3, hit them for 7. We can then deploy Qui-Gon, attack in for 4, bounce Ahsoka, play Bodhi, grab the Soresu Stance, I suppose, pass, and now we probably have locked up the game. Pretty sweet stuff, guys. I mean, that was pretty awesome. Got a lot of value out of those bounces with the sneak attack in particular. That sneak attack was critical. They can knock out Kira, and that's a big old unit. But boom, that's going to be GG for our first game. Wow, pretty sweet. All right, into the next game, and we got ourselves a mirror. And we're going to get probably a good amount of mirrors so far in the in this early stage of the format, just because of everyone wanting to try all the new cards. Here, we're going to go into Resource Akira and an Ether Sprite. We're going to grab an Anakin on turn 1. Cantina Bouncer and the Ahsoka, both great cards. I do like Change of Heart as well. Ooh, Sneak Attack is pretty amazing, actually. Oh boy, what do I want to go with? I think I'll resource the Change of Heart here, actually, because I really think Sneak Attack is pretty disgusting. Because again, we can Sneak Attack next turn, plus the Cantina Bouncer to go ahead and get the Ahsoka down. And I mean, it's tough to come back from that. I mean, we're going to bounce that Outer Rim Outlaws, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for my opponent. Sneak Attack, Cantina Bouncers, boom, bounce the Outer Rim Outlaws, get that nasty out of here. And then we got an option to actually play Luke instead, which I think is actually a pretty appealing option. Let's get in for 3 here, and let's see what we can do afterwards. Luke instead of Ahsoka. I think Luke's actually more valuable because we're going to get an experience token. Ooh, they don't have the Force, so they're not going to be able to get the ambush out from Darth Tyrannus. Let's go ahead and actually get the Luke Skywalker down. Get an attack in, pass. We've got Bodhi. We've got Ezra. Oh boy. I like Cantina Bouncer into Ahsoka or Bodhi this turn. It's going to be pretty nice. Ooh, they went with Gideon. I don't think that's a very good play at all, because what we could do here is Cantina Bouncer bounce the Darth Tyrannus. And then they're going to security complex, sure. Let's go with an attack in with our good old friend Anakin. Get an attack in for 2 again. We're going to bounce the Cantina Bouncer, play out the Ahsoka. Don't have any force to pump up Luke, which is a little bit unfortunate. But we're going to make him discard a card. If they discard a unit, then we get to shrink down Revan or exhaust Revan. They're not going to discard a unit, which makes sense. I wouldn't have expected them. If they had the opportunity, they would try not to, right? We're going to go ahead and get in an attack with the Luke here. Pass. Youngling Padawan L3, probably in the resource pile. Change of Heart would be pretty fantastic here. Super Commando Squad, huh? All right. Super Commando Squad. This is getting a little bit tricky. We're going to bounce the Super Commando Squad. Again, Cantina Bouncer doing some major work here. Luke Skywalker going in for some damage. Let's go ahead and get an attack for 3 here. We're going to finish off Anakin Skywalker, most likely. Lots of experience going on with the Darth Revan over there. Lots of experience. Is it going to be enough, though? That is the question. Is it going to be enough? I'm not so certain it will. Let's go ahead and deploy Qui-Gon here. Get an attack in to their base, bounce the Cantina Bouncer, play Bodhi, see what they've got in hand. A bunch of nonsense is what they've got in hand. We will pass. Do we get a surprise strike? No surprise strike. A little bit unfortunate that we didn't draw any surprise strike or anything like that. We'll see what we've got, though. Opponent's in a pretty good spot, to be honest. Gideon is a really awesome card. It is really, really tough to kind of deal with Gideon and everything Gideon's got going on. We're going to bounce the Super Commando Squad again. Again, Surprise Strike basically wins us the game, but we need to draw Surprise Strike. I think we're getting into the point where we're probably in the losing territory. Well, because we attack for 3 here, and then they kind of are forced to take initiative. Because if they attack a unit, then we can take initiative, because they still have a sentinel, right? I think they were forced to take initiative there, unless they have something else. I mean, that's a big Revan, guys. Look, I mean, look at this. It is incredible. I absolutely love this. Look how many experience tokens is on Revan right now. There are 7 experience. It's insane. I absolutely love it. Doesn't matter, though. It is GG. That is incredible. GG to my opponent. That was awesome. Really, really sweet use of Cantina Bouncer over and over again. But guess what? What was the key? Sneak attack, baby. Sneak attack in this deck is insane. The card's so good. All right, I guess we're just going to get a bunch of Revan matchups today. Totally fine with that. Let's mulligan here. This one looks like an okay hand. We're going to go with an L3 here on turn 1. They've got a TIE Bomber. Okay, TIE Bomber. Interesting. No force generation for us yet. Ooh, I do like the Cantina Bouncer, though, guys. Cantina Bouncer is fantastic in this deck. Absolutely fantastic. Let's see what they're going to do. I think we'll just take the TIE Bomber hits here. And then we're just going to get down the Ezra Bridger and see. Ooh, they've got Darth Vader. That's really risky up against a... up against the double cunning deck. This is like horrible to do up against the double cunning deck. Let's go ahead and claim initiative, though. And, ooh, I mean, we could just play the Will of the Force, right? And just bounce it. I think the more profitable option is going to be to cunning, return power 4 or less, and then give +4/+0 to the L3. And now they're going to be forced to choose if they have something to deal with a unit. They can't deal with the Ezra, which is the more important unit. But the L3 is most likely going to be able to get in an attack, which I will just go ahead and get in an attack. Attack in for 6. Attack in for 3. Ahsoka. We'll leave it on top of our deck. Let's pass. Youngling. Let's resource that. Cantina Bouncer plus Ahsoka here. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and get an attack in for 2. And we'll see if they have like a Malik or anything of that note. I think we're just going to go Cantina Bouncer, bounce the Darth Tyrannus. They definitely have options here, though, because we won't be able to continuously bounce everything every single turn. Vambrace Flamethrower. Let's bounce the Cantina Bouncer and get Ahsoka Tano down. Vambrace Flamethrower, interesting. Very, very interesting. We'll see if they have a non-unit to discard, because if they do, it's going to get a little bit tricky for sure. If they don't, we're in a pretty good spot. And look at that. We get to exhaust Darth Revan. So really, really good stuff there. Absolutely love that. They're going to attach Darth Revan's lightsabers. We're going to claim initiative, and we're going to hope that we pick up something pretty good here, which we didn't really pick up anything too great. Let's go ahead and attack him with Ahsoka. Just get in the damage immediately. They've got an upgraded Revan. I'm surprised they didn't just discard the Darth Revan's lightsabers. But, you know, to each their own, I suppose. Not that bad of a play this turn. We can go Cantina Bouncer, bounce the Cantina Bouncer, play Luke, play Anakin, and then get some little bit of value there. Ooh, they're going to knock out L3 and Ahsoka here. I think that's a pretty good choice. Okay, let's go ahead and deploy Qui-Gon. That's a big old Darth Revan. We're going to go Cantina Bouncer, bounce the Malik. We're going to attack in with the Qui-Gon Jinn, play out the Luke Skywalker, play the Anakin, use the Force, trigger. Now we have 2 shielded units. We've got another Cunning, and I mean, that's probably going to seal the deal. Millennium Falcon and Cunning. We've got 2 shielded units. It's going to be pretty nice for us. Yeah, I don't really know how my opponent can get out of this one now that we've drawn Millennium Falcon plus Cunning. Revan, I mean, it's pretty sweet. I mean, all sorts of different combinations you could run. Darth Revan's lightsaber plus Vambrace Flamethrower, just like getting a massive unit up and running and just knocking out unit after unit after unit is incredibly strong. That is really, really good. But it's not quite good enough typically. Okay, we get to go ahead and attack in. I think I'm just going to attack in for 1 with the Anakin, get the Force, because I can play Millennium Falcon, use the Force to pump up my Luke again. I think that's what I want to do. I could regret this if my opponent's got some sort of ambusher. Force throw, discarding Count Dooku. All right. Yep, that's a good situation to be in. No doubt about it. That is pretty amazing. I did not necessarily expect that, but yeah, that is awesome. They're going to be able to knock out Anakin and hit my Millennium Falcon and set up for a kill on Millennium Falcon now. I mean, they pretty much had every answer possible. Force throw on Count Dooku. Yeah, that was... I mean, I didn't think I could lose the game, and then suddenly my opponent made it into a situation where, well, very likely to actually potentially lose the game. Nice combination of units to draw here. We get the Luke plus the Anakin, which we then can have a shielded Luke. They're saying GG. They're going to smack in for 15. I mean, that is insane. Insane. Revan can do some crazy things, guys. That's cool to see. Really cool to see. But we got there. We got there. Wow, that was incredible. All right, into the next matchup. We got ourselves a pretty good one here. I do like what we got going on. I'm going to resource both of the L3s to start off with an Anakin. Double blue Iden is a little bit scary, I will admit. That can definitely do some work up against us. Power the Dark Sides, Merciless Contest, that type of stuff. Every single turn is just going to hammer us home and maybe have some trouble. What I would really have liked to see is a Bodhi. We don't have Bodhi. That's unfortunate. And that might cause us to lose the game, just straight up. That just might be the end of the game because we don't have something like a Bodhi on turn 1 to start picking apart their hand, right? That's the key. Hopefully we get an attack in. I would love to get an attack in. They're going to go Vigilance. They cannot defeat this unit with Vigilance. So that's not really going to work out for them. Let's go with an Ahsoka Tano, though. That's going to allow us to hit their hand a little bit. They discard a restock. We're going to attack in. Will of the Force. We'll discard this. Not use Qui-Gon's ability. Not really necessary to use Qui-Gon's ability. There's an Anakin Skywalker. That could potentially be something that we might want if we have like a Luke or something, but don't really care for it now. What do you got, opponent? Kira's looking pretty good. Cunning could also be pretty good. We'll see what they have, though. I'm hoping... Aha! That's exactly what I was kind of hoping for, because now I can go attack with Ahsoka. Bounce the Ahsoka Tano to play an Ezra. Defeat this Ezra. Then we get to play Ahsoka Tano again to allow us to discard another card from their hand. Again, what these matchups are all about is really picking apart my opponent's hand over and over and over and over again. That's the key. Against these control matchups, I would have loved to start on turn 2 with a Bodhi. We didn't quite have that option, but that's okay. Okay, so now we get to go ahead and attack in with Ahsoka. And we get to decide what we want to do here. Iden comes down. We get to deploy our Qui-Gon. We'll see if they have another perilous position. That'd be pretty nuts if they have the third perilous position here for what we got going on. They're going to attack the base, huh? A little bit strange. Let's go ahead and attack into the base, bounce the Ahsoka, put the Millennium Falcon down on the battlefield. And we will, filter our hand again and drop another Ahsoka, make them discard another card, right? Just keep picking apart their hand. I can go Kira next turn to name the things that I'd be really worried about. What are the things I'm really worried about? Super Laser Blast. Snoke is another one that could be a little bit concerning. But Super Laser Blast is really the only card that can really deal with us at the current moment. Can pump in a lot of damage this turn. I think we'll just go ahead and get an attack in with Ezra. Do I want to play this? I think I do. You just play Anakin as a unit, because then I can go still play Kira. The reason I'm making this decision is because technically I have lethal, right? 6, that's 3. That's another 3, that's 23. Yep, Cunning's going to go ahead and do it. We'll make them discard a card at random. Boom, that's the Super Laser Blast anyways. We get in for 7, get in with Ahsoka, get in with Qui-Gon, and then we could bounce the Ahsoka to replay the Millennium Falcon, and check that out. That was by no means a bad hand, right? We had a solid hand, nothing terrible. My opponent kind of messed up the Vigilance play. Maybe they had nothing else to do, but that was obviously not a good play from them in terms of like, it just didn't kill a unit, and it made discard of cards from the top of our deck, which did literally nothing in terms of what the game actually turned out to be. So depending on what they had, maybe they could have done something else on that specific turn. But I mean, what did we play? Ahsoka Tano 2 or 3 times that game? We just constantly was able to pick apart their hand. And as I was saying, we're worried about Super Laser Blast and Snoke. We discarded a Snoke. This turn, we got the Anakin. I would have played Kira and prevented the only thing that would have forced us to lose the game, which is Super Laser Blast. So they would have had to kill it, which probably means they can't play Super Laser Blast afterwards, which means we were pretty guaranteed to win, even if we didn't hit their Super Laser Blast with the random discard with Cunning. Really sweet from Qui-Gon, guys. All right, guys, what did we learn from Qui-Gon? We had a few matches today, mostly Revan. Of course, we're not going to be able to test him against a bunch of things in these random, lobbies and queues right now, mainly because a lot of the cards aren't functioning all the way through. And, well, a lot of people are messing around with other decks. But it was really awesome to see some potential brewing with Qui-Gon. Realistically, we didn't get to see Ether Sprite. It wasn't functioning, but we also didn't have a really good option to see it. Really, what this card is there for is if we got Sneak Attack, Ether Sprite, drop an Ahsoka, and we get a double discard, that's a crazy turn, okay? That is incredible. We didn't get to see that. We didn't really have many options to do so. But in general, guys, Sneak Attack Cantina Bouncer or Sneak Attack Plo Koon to then play an Ahsoka Tano, or even Sneak Attack Mandalorian, right? It doesn't actually need to have the bounce effect or have the ambush. In fact, Sneak Attack Mandalorian might just be better because you get to kill their unit, then play your Ahsoka Tano or Kira, disrupt them, and still have a unit left over. So you get to disrupt their board, disrupt their hand, and punch in for damage, potentially with your other units, or just get in some damage later on. I think Sneak Attack is by far the strongest card in this deck, alongside Cunning, of course. But really, that's the key. The deck feels really strong when you can do things like Cantina Bouncer, bounce into Ahsoka, and do that on repeat, and then bounce Ahsoka into Bodhi, and then bounce Kira into Bodhi, or do that type of function. The cards that we are kind of playing in terms of getting the Force token is on the weaker side. I think if we're able to improve those options, that's where the deck gets really good. I think Youngling Padawan is a decent option. Anakin Skywalker is decent. L3 obviously can't create the Force token, which can hurt us sometimes. And then the other Anakin Skywalker, this 1-drop, I'm not a huge fan of. The 1/1 isn't that great, but something that we could potentially work on. Overall, I mean, this deck is pretty sweet. It's definitely finicky and definitely requires a lot more thought process than most other decks. Okay, how do I sequence my plays, in what order to get the Force token, to be able to bounce this, to be able to play around everything. This is definitely a tough deck to play, and I'm sure I made a bunch of mistakes as we went through, but it was really fun. And again, the Sneak Attack 5-drops that we were dropping in, oh my gosh, were those turns absolutely insane. And we saw it, guys. I played a bunch more matches beforehand, just messing around with Qui-Gon in the initial building of this deck. And we played against some more meta options. Like today we played against Revan, right? And we played against Iden. That was like it. Revan is pretty bad up against Qui-Gon. There's just too much exhaust, so that Revan can't really do a bunch of things with this all-in. There's too many bounce effects to mess around with other units. There's too many things going on. When you're up against something like a more meta deck, that's where Qui-Gon struggles a lot more. So I don't think this deck is like absolutely disgusting or anything like that. I do think it's got potential in terms of just like some really interesting combinations here and there. But there's by no means am I saying this deck is amazing, okay? By no means am I like, oh my gosh, we're just annihilating everything. We played against Revan, guys, okay? That was it, really. But you got to see some of the cool things we could do with Qui-Gon. And that was the point of it, right? That was the fun aspect. So before anyone goes to the comments, it's like, oh my gosh, this guy, he just picks all the best matchups. I mean, what are people playing anyways, guys? They're playing Revan, right? I'm trying to have some fun. It is what it is. I just loaded up, about a 2-hour span of me just jumping into some games, and that's what I recorded. It happens. But hopefully you all enjoyed anyways. I had some fun. That was the whole point of this. And let me know if you want to see some more decks, just some initial strategies, initial fun combinations, some fun things going on. And I'll see you all for the next one.